How important is fire safety in Anne Arundel County? Next on Food for Thought. Hi, I'm Jodi, the host for Food for Thought, and thanks for watching. Today I'm joined by Captain Russ Davies from the Anne Arundel County Fire Department, and we're going to talk about all the activities that go on outside of Anne Arundel County Public Schools as well as inside the school system. Welcome, Captain, to Food for Thought.
Thank you for having me, Jodi.
Can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and what's your role at the fire department?
Sure. I've been with the County Fire Department for 24 years now. Right now, I'm assigned to the Public Information Division, which means I interact with the public and with the media and other fire departments, providing information about the County Fire Department. I also supervise our Records Division and our community outreach and recruiting, as well as public education.
And I think we've only recently met, but I think one thing I've realized first and foremost about the fire department is you guys do so much, so I'm excited about this show because there was so much more to what you do than just put out fires.
Right, we cover a wide range of services.
Yeah, if we could start there, what are the activities that you do around the county and how are you touching community members each and every day?
Well, we do a lot of different types of outreach. It's not just fire safety, it's also injury prevention. And some examples of that are, we work with the police agencies, we work with the State Highway Administration to work on distracted driving, to work on seatbelt use, on pedestrian safety. We partner with Kids in Safety Seats on a quarterly basis. They use one of our firehouses for a drive-in inspection to make sure that safety seats are properly installed. And then we do a lot of things with the Anne Arundel County Public Schools. During the month of October, when it centers around Fire Prevention Week, firefighters visit a lot of the elementary schools. We do different partnerships with public schools. We worked with the Annapolis High School and did a Prom Promise. And then probably most recently, the fire department is involved with the Not My Child Forum, which has been invited into a lot of the middle schools and high schools to talk about the opioid and heroin crisis in an effort to not have new users.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've been privy to, so I was able to see the panel not only as an employee here for Anne Arundel County Public Schools, but having children. I have a middle schooler and I have a high schooler, so I just think that message is unbelievable, and I think for those watching, if they know of an upcoming event, they should really, if they're in that community, they should really attend that and see what that panel and what the fire department's doing, on behalf of the whole county.
Yeah, the panel is a nice collaboration. It involves the fire department, the police department, the state's attorney, the health department crisis response, and we've been very fortunate that the schools have welcomed us in during the daytime to reach the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, and then invite us back in the evening so then we can reach out to the parents, because it's a very important issue right now.
And I think sometimes parents might not know, right? I think they hear about it. They might not think it's in their community. They might not think it's in their backyard. They might not think it's going to happen to someone that they know. And I think the first time I saw it, I thought it was so pertinent for high school, right? Mm-hmm. But then the more you look, you're like, it should really be middle school. And I was so proud to say that you were already working on middle school.
Right. Well, that changed before we became involved with it, but they went to the middle schools because that's what the students in the high schools told them where they needed to be. Mm-hmm. So we're very happy to be collaborating with that group and and trying to work towards a solution for this problem.
Right. And I think that awareness is key. I just think everyone, right, every two, every three people is just key to really get that message out there.
Right. Just reaching one person makes it worth it.
Now, in conjunction with that, you do something at some of your stations, so a safe station.
Sure. One of the things that we've done, it involves community outreach, is we've opened up all the Anne Arundel County fire stations, as well as the Annapolis City fire stations, and all the police stations to the Safe Station program. And basically what that does is any county resident who has an opioid or a heroin problem can come to a firehouse and get help, ask for help, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, any time of the year. And that's been really vital. And again, it's a collaboration of the same groups that are involved with Not My Child. And it's been very highly used and is having very good results. And we're happy to say that working with that group, we believe we're making a difference.
And do you think, you probably are partnering with the police all the time, do you see higher visits, I guess, or occurrences at different parts of the county and different stations maybe having more access or more walk-ins?
We've had 2 stations that have seen a lot of walk-ins. One is the Brooklyn Park station in the northern part of the county, and then in Annapolis City, the Forest Drive station sees a lot of, are the 2 that see the most frequent, yes.
And then there's probably special training that, you do with your staff as well, right, at these stations, so.
Right, it really just involves just being nice to people. They're coming to us, we've leveraged our goodwill in the community that they trust us, and it's just a matter of being accepting, being nice, treating them well, and getting them in contact with crisis response. So it really doesn't require special training to be nice to somebody.
Yeah, that's true. We could be nice every day,
yes.
right? We were going to talk a little bit about how your role has changed too, and I think that is one of the things. So I think in food service, I always look at what I do. So, do we always serve pizza in school lunch? We always do, right?
Right.
And it's always on Friday, believe it or not. It's been probably on Friday, across the country forever. In our county, it's always been on Friday. But we tweak things over the years. So now we do salad bars in all of our schools, and we're really encouraging more fruits and vegetables. What, as the fire department, that's one big area, but are there other areas that over the years you just have to change the way you do business, right? Or you change the way you look at what are the needs of the community? Well,
the Not My Child in the Safe Stations is an example of, community outreach that's changed. But we do a lot of things, everybody, when you think about the fire department, probably the first thing you think about is putting out fires and then probably starting in the 60s, emergency medical services. But we really provide services that go beyond that. Anne Arundel County is comprised of a lot of coastline, so we have a lot of water. And really, we're as responsible for as much for the person that's on their boat, on their water, if they have a fire or a medical emergency, as we are for somebody on land or going over the bridge. So we have different divisions. We have a marine division that handles that. We have a dive team that can handle emergencies on the water. And then we have other specialty teams where we've branched out. We've had hazmat team for years to handle hazardous materials incidents, and we've had, collapse rescue teams that can deal with people that get trapped in a trench or a building collapse, and people are a team that's able to handle somebody that's in an emergency at a high elevation, like, for example, on the Bay Bridge, a construction worker. So we have branched out to meet the needs of the community.
Yeah, and I think it's something just recently, getting the opportunity to partner with you, and I heard of all these things, and I was like, what is that? And what does that entail? Because it was so much more than putting out a fire.
Yeah, we're very excited to partner with Anne Arundel County Public Schools with the Farmers Market in Brooklyn Park, and it'll give us an opportunity to educate the public on some safety and to showcase some of the different services that we do provide.
And I think at the market, for those watching, we have police, we have the Department of Health, we have our public libraries, we have all of our media specialists in Anne Arundel County, and I think just in our discussion, you can see we're really passionate about it, and we are so excited to have our resources include fire. And everybody who comes to that market to buy their fresh fruits and vegetables and to really have healthy access of fresh fruits and vegetables every day, and it's at the Brooklyn Park, which is a food desert, so they don't have access up there. And it's inexpensive. It's with one of our farmers, Russ Schlegel, who's out of Waldorf, Maryland, Schlegel Farms. He grows for us during the year. He comes there with his produce in the summer, and it's really a resource day. I think it's better than Disney. When you come to the Brooklyn Park Farmers Market, they're going to be able to meet and greet a fireman, a firewoman. They're going to be able to see those police officers. They're going to be able to see Comfort the dog. So as a resource, I think it's going to be key, and I think the partnership that we're going to have is really going to blossom and make the market better and better each and every year. Well,
and we're looking forward to it because I think we're a good fit, and we have more and more emphasis on health and fitness and proper eating, even within our organization for our people. And we're looking forward to bringing out some of our exercise kinesiologists and some of the healthy endeavors that we're taking on to be able to share with the public as well.
And why don't you share with the viewers a little bit about, we're going to have the equipment that goes along with the service. So what's some of the equipment that I know you use each and every day, but that maybe, over the next few summers, it will be at the farmers market as well?
Well, I think everyone's accustomed to seeing the fire engines and the ladder trucks and the ambulances. What we're looking to bring out are things like our mobile communications unit, our mobile ambulance bus, and then the equipment that's used by the specialty teams. We can bring out the hazmat team, the dive rescue team, and can share not only safety tips, but also show the equipment that we use and allow people to to talk to our firefighters, the people that are trained in that, to see the equipment, to do a little demonstration. And we're going to try to coincide with the time of the year. The summertime, it's a big pool time, June and July. Bring our dive team out. We're going to talk about the importance of PFDs and do those sort of activities. So something that's very timely.
And I think for everybody who comes to the market, if it is a mom with multiple children, that PFDs are different sizes, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
They can't have one that's for a 50-pound or under, right, when they're 150 pounds. So I think a lot of that education and that resource that you're going to provide is going to be so pertinent. So pool safety, just the proper use, and to use a PFD.
Right, and we're going to have some things that will be there every week. We're going to, the ability to put smoke alarms in. We'll do some demonstrations and teach some hands-only CPR. So we're excited. We think we have a lot to offer the community, and the farmers market at Brooklyn Park is going to give us an opportunity to showcase some of that.
Yeah, I think you even mentioned the other day that we would probably even look at some fireworks stuff, right? Safety of fireworks, or
absolutely. As we get closer, to 4th of July, would certainly be something that we'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's going to be key, and I think. I don't know, I feel like we're one already, and I think for everybody in the Brooklyn Park area, we get folks that travel 20 miles, and we have folks that come from the city down to the market. I just think the addition of fire department is going to be huge, and I think we're going to have a partnership for many years. I think we're, it could be 10 years from now, and you and I are going to be saying, here we go, we're going to the farmers market because it's Monday.
It's a very new collaboration with us and the Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and we are very much looking forward to participating starting this summer.
Before we talk about fire safety in general, you do a lot of things in the schools too, and I know you touched briefly, but maybe what are some of the things that you do in the schools for outreach, firemen going into maybe elementary schools, things like that? Sure.
In October, it's a big month to go out and do fire safety education, the friendly firefighter, making sure the children know their address, what number to call when there's an emergency. But, then the rest of the year, we have opportunities to come out. We attend a lot of the career days because there are a lot of people that may not realize that there's a paid fire service in Anne Arundel County, and it could be a career for them. So we do those. As I mentioned earlier, we worked with Annapolis High School and did a Prom Promise activity where we brought a car out and did a simulation of an accident as a result of drunk driving using their students. Their students were rock stars in that event with doing the moulage and with the acting and playing the parts.
Can I interrupt on that one
Sure.
though for one quick? So a damaged car is there, correct?
Yes.
Is it one that actually was the result of a similar scenario, or you just know that it's really, it would be a result of?
It was an auto that was actually two autos that was donated by a salvage company. We added some damage. So they weren't previously involved in an accident. We went through and did the scenario where we removed them from the car, and it was very impactful with the students.
And I think especially for a high school student, they're young adults.
Right.
And they're living it, right? They're behind the wheel often, and maybe sometimes feeling a little invincible, right? So
right, exactly.
I think it's important for them to really see it and to be able to be hands-on, exactly like they did. And I know when you said earlier it was the Prom Promise, I'm like, I need to ask you, what really is that, so the viewers would really understand what you do. And does that move to other high schools throughout careers, or is it just you pick and choose?
We had a good relationship with Annapolis High School. They asked for it, and they had some student leadership that was very passionate about getting it done. So it was something that could be done at different schools. It just so happened that last year it was at Annapolis High School.
That's great. No, I just think it's really amazing, the coordination between both agencies, even in food service, So I'm laughing. I'm like, wow, I'm glad to be able to say we're now also a partner with the fire department. Let's talk a little bit about fire safety, specifically around the holidays. And I know we already talked even a little bit about pool safety, in the summer, July 4th, and there's some safety that goes with that. But let's talk about Thanksgiving, right?
Okay.
So being in food, obviously we love to cook and we love to prepare things all the time. But let's talk about how can families watching, how could anybody that's watching say, how do we really keep ourselves safe around a Thanksgiving holiday with all of the fires or cooking incidents that could happen.
Right, sure. It may not come as a surprise to your viewers, but Thanksgiving is the biggest day of the year nationwide for kitchen fires. As a matter of fact, 4 times as many kitchen fires occur on Thanksgiving Day as any other day of the year. The next closest days would be Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And really the number one cause for those fires is just not being inattentive in the kitchen. You think about the holidays, friends and family are coming in, it's chaotic, it's very easy to get distracted. So the way to prevent it is, stay in the kitchen, set timers to remind yourself when items need to come off the stove or out of the oven. And another big one is, a turkey is in the oven for a long period of time, stay in the house, while the turkey's in the oven because, things happen.
Right. Don't go pick up extra butternut squash at the last minute. You got to stay there.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it makes such sense when you say that, but until you told me, I'm like, that really, I thought it would be more cooking at too high of a temperature. Everything's going on. It's so social at Thanksgiving. Everybody's there. You're all with your family. You're with neighbors. You're with friends. And it's just the loss of sight that everything is still going out there, and you go and become social with everybody else in the house.
Right. I mean, you look at what goes on in the kitchen on Thanksgiving, that's a task in itself. You add a distraction, trying to be social, trying to talk to friends and family, do other things. It's very easy to lose track.
Now, another thing that sometimes comes up at Thanksgiving are those turkey fryers.
Sure.
I think probably, I guess it's kind of been like a new hot, I guess it's not even that new anymore. It's been around for a while. But why exactly, or what do you see is the concern there? And I think there's some tips that you have of what you could do if you choose to fry your chicken, or fry your turkey versus just doing it the traditional method.
The turkey fryers have been around for a while, but they still seem to be gaining in popularity. But there is a considerable danger associated with them. As a matter of fact, they're dangerous enough that the NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, actually recommends against consumers using them at home. However, we all know if you've had a fried turkey, it's delicious. So we do have some tips. If you're going to choose to do a fried turkey, take your turkey fryer outside on a flat surface, preferably a concrete or brick surface, and have about a 15-foot clearance from any structure, any trees, any fence, and certainly don't use a turkey fryer on a wood deck or inside a garage or under an awning. The hot oil, it only takes a very little spillover of hot oil to come in contact with the burner to cause a significant fire. And then that's happening underneath maybe 5 gallons of hot oil. And there are a number of fires and even some fatalities every year around the country as a result of turkey fryers.
Yeah, I think not only would the fire department be there to put out the fire, it could be a medical reason, right? Of the burns, of the severe burns that could go with it. Or I mean, if there's children around, right? I mean, they're just looking at it like it's just this liquid in there. Well, no, it's extremely hot oil that is just so dangerous.
Yeah, burns are frequently associated with them as people remove or place the turkey in the fryer. Mm-hmm. So we're not suggesting that you don't use it at all, but we're suggesting that you use it safely.
Mm-hmm. And especially you put that, depending on how heavy the turkey is, and you didn't equate, right, for the displacement of the oil, it will go right over instantly, and then.
And that's where the majority of the problems happen, is the overflow.
Yeah. Now I love to talk about food. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite, but let's talk a little bit about Christmas trees, because I think that's another holiday item that we know, unfortunately, right, there's been some fires even in our county that have caused severe injury, loss of property, loss of life.
Loss of life. Yeah, we've had a couple of severe fires in Anne Arundel County and Annapolis City. But fortunately, we have learned lessons from those tragedies. As it happens, the Friday and the weekend after Thanksgiving is the biggest weekend of the year for the sale of live Christmas trees. So when you go out to the tree lot, when you're purchasing that tree, run your hand over the branch. You should only have a few needles that fall out. And then talk to the proprietor of the tree lot. They should be able to tell you when the tree was cut, where it came from. We have some areas of the country that are experiencing dry conditions, so that tree, you may need to give that tree a little bit extra water when you get home. The biggest thing that we've learned as far as safety goes with the Christmas tree is the constant watering. Following the fatal fire in Annapolis, there was extensive testing done of similar Christmas trees, and the testing showed that a tree that was constantly watered, that was watered every day, when it caught fire, would basically extinguish itself if it was moist enough. So, the Christmas tree safety is something that, we will emphasize every year.
Right, and I think too, cut off that bottom, right? Still take off that 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. I guess it could even be a little bit less, but you need to have the base, the trunk of that tree has to be able to keep absorbing that water too.
Yeah, it's even recommended you cut that 1/2 inch or 1 inch off the base, and then you put the tree in a bucket outside, a 5-gallon bucket full of water, and you give it a day or two to soak up as much water as it can before you even bring it into the house.
That's a great idea. Wow. As a person that sometimes as a family, has the live tree, that's something we don't do. I mean, we definitely water it. We make it, it's part of like a task of one of the kids. So it's nice. It has to happen every day.
Every day.
Sometimes it takes a little, sometimes it takes more, but we're like, nope, we're not missing a day.
Right. And part of that is having it in a tree stand that's big enough to accommodate the amount of water that a tree takes in. If you have a big tree, it'll take a gallon and a half, 2 gallons of water a day very easily. So having a tree stand that can accommodate that is just as important.
Wow, and when you think of how much that is, right, everybody thinking at home right now probably like, all right, we have a gallon of milk in the refrigerator.
Right.
That's a lot of water.
Right, it all comes down to the size of the tree and how much it's going to need and how dry your home is.
Right, and just to keep yourself and your family safe.
Yes.
Let's talk about all the great resources that you have, because they are plentiful. And I love the fire safety checklist. What are some things that you could talk about just, in generality right now of, what's available? What could you do as a family, right? As a mom of 2 girls here in Anne Arundel County and my husband, what could we do that really just makes our family safe in everything that we do pertaining to fire safety? So
the materials that you talked about can be found on our webpage, www.aaccounty.gov/fire. And if you go to public education, all those checklists would be there. The best advice, and it's really timeless, is the working smoke alarms. Have a smoke alarm on every floor of your home and in every sleeping area, and test them once a month to actually make sure that they're functional. And then when you change your clock, take the smoke alarm down, change the battery out, and while you have that smoke alarm down, flip it over and look at the back and find the manufacturer date. If the smoke alarm was manufactured more than 10 years ago, you need to replace the smoke alarm. The materials, the sensors in the smoke alarm degrade over time, and at 10 years it's time to get new smoke alarms.
And I think that's something that you shared with me that I think was so important, because I think we all want to do the battery change, right? And that's something, you go by a fire hall, right? When you go by the fire stations,
right, change your clock, change your battery.
They've got it right out there. I love it. They have pool safety out there too when it's pool safety time.
Yes.
I love it. So it's almost like you're doing education just for every person who's driving by the fire station too, which is huge. But the 10-year piece, that might be something that is overlooked. I think you put it up there, you say, heck, it's good. I bought a good fire, or smoke detector. I think it's going to be good for a while.
Right, and and we've heard some stories of people who have pulled them down 15, 20 years old, and once you hit that 10-year mark, it's really time to replace it.
No, that's huge. That's a great, huge tip that I hope everybody watching goes back. It's going to make me go home again and say, I got to see how old mine are. How about the diagrams? Indirectly, I think you've impacted our family just because my daughters came home from school in Anne Arundel County Public Schools and they said, we got to do our diagram. What's our escape route? Where do we go if there's a fire? Where do we go if there's an issue at the house? Where's our safe zone outside? Talk a little bit about that, because I know exactly what you did at the school. It impacted my family, and I'm hoping everybody watching is kind of thinking the same thing. What's this going to do for my family? So
we just talked about the importance of the smoke alarms. The next important thing is, what do you do when that smoke alarm goes off? So what the exit drill in the home does is it makes you identify 2 ways out of every room, and have a meeting place outside so that you know that everybody's accounted for. And since we've just been talking about the holidays, something to consider. You think about Thanksgiving, you think about Christmas, you have family that comes in that stays with you. Make sure they know your exit plan and your meeting place. And the same goes if you're traveling, if you're staying with somebody else. Where do they meet? What are the 2 ways out of the room that you're in? And another thing that we occasionally see is a lot of people, when you bring your Christmas tree home, the first thing you have to do is there's a certain spot where that Christmas tree goes, and you have to rearrange furniture and make sure you've got that spot for that tree. Just make sure that your exit drill your exit plan
You didn't block
matches,
that off,
yeah,
right.
that you haven't moved a piece of furniture and blocked the window that you thought you could get out, or the Christmas tree isn't in front of an exit that you thought that you would normally use. So to have the plan, and then we encourage you to practice it twice a year, because you can draw out a map, but until you actually know that you can get to that window that you need to get to, you need to do the practice.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to, when your children come home and they tell you that, it's like, wow, this is pretty empowering. Like, you've already touched their, you've tickled their fancy in there, right? They were like, this is what the fireman said today. And they come home and they talk about it. And it really, as a family, makes you really think twice. On the, especially when you have all your family there over the holidays, because you have people that might, they flew in from wherever. They don't know the layout of your house. They're
Right.
not real sure even if the front door's, operational, right?
Right. They need to know, there would be nothing worse than a smoke alarm going off in the middle of the night in a home that you're not familiar with. So you're being woken up for a sleep. You're already disoriented to where you may be, much less what the layout is and what, the way out. So identifying that, either as a traveler or hosting guests is very important.
Mm-hmm. And if the exit that you thought was no longer a valid exit, that's the second exit piece, right?
Right.
So that's really key, and I think that's what we've talked about with our girls, that if the back door is the closest door, but that's where maybe the fire is or whatever the disturbance is, you've got to look at your other exit.
Right, it includes knowing that you have to stay low to the floor, that you have to go and feel a door before you open it. It's recommended now, which is a change, that you sleep with the doors closed, because the reason that the door will provide you a barrier from smoke entering a sleeping area. So if you do sleep with that arrangement, you check the door before you open the door to make sure that there's not fire on the other side of the door. And if there is, then you're looking at having to use your second exit.
And how about if you are traveling and you're in a hotel? What should the first thing everybody does? If they're in a hotel, they're in a resort, they're wherever. There's always something right on the back of the door.
Right on the back of the door. Right after you find out where the pool is, go look at the back of the door and find out where your closest exit is, and where the stairs are, and the best way to reach them. Yeah,
I think it's really key, and I think it's that awareness piece on everything that you've talked about. Before we close the show again, so let's just talk about it. You have so many parts of the community, right? From emergency to putting out the fire. Kind of run through that little chain one more time so everybody watching sees the value that the fire department has.
Well, we do community outreach. We like to do injury prevention and fire safety. And then, really, the firefighters coming to your house to put out the fire is really the last line of defense. We hope to prevent that from ever happening. And it really starts earlier. The prevention really starts earlier than most people realize. Before somebody occupies a building or a business, the fire marshal's office has been out there doing inspections to make sure that the building is up to code, to make sure it's safe to be occupied. In businesses, it's followed up with inspections at least every other year to make sure that occupancy is safe. And then, of course, we reach out with our partners with the schools to come out and talk to the children and hopefully get them to take the information home to mom and dad and to go over the information in the house.
Yeah, I think it's key. I think the partnership is great for all of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and especially, just food and nutrition services. I can't thank you enough, and I'm really looking forward to a long, long relationship that we're going to have at the Brooklyn Park Farmers Market.
Yeah, I think that's going to I think we're a very good match for each other at the farmers market.
Thank you. As you can see, the fire department in Anne Arundel County is key to all the communities they serve, not only in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, but in each and every aspect. For the Brooklyn Park Farmers Market, we're really excited to have a new resource there each and every day, or each and every Monday. So when we're providing fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, we're always having fire safety, we have the Department of Health, and we have recipes, and we also have police. If you have any questions about the school meals or food and nutrition services, you can always call me at 410-222-5900. I'll see you next time on Food for Thought. Today I come to you with exciting news about school meals. School meals offer students a healthy school breakfast and lunch. Every day, students are offered unlimited choices of fresh fruits and vegetables. Students are encouraged to select up to 2 cups of fresh produce each day at lunch from our unique salad bars. You may also monitor your child's school meals online at My Payments Plus. This is a convenient tool we offer to all parents to make managing your school meal accounts a simple process. To learn more about My Payments Plus, simply visit www.mypaymentsplus.com or call 877-237-0946. Each year, families have the ability to apply for free or reduced price meals. The application to apply is online. Parents, you may log on to applyformeals.aacps.org. The process is fast, easy, convenient, and it's accessible from any computer. Remember, if you received meal benefits last year, you must complete a new application each school year. Thank you for this opportunity to provide you this valuable information pertaining to school meals. School meals fuel your child's brain and body for academic excellence. If you have any questions regarding the healthy school meals offered, please contact me at 410-222-5900.